So this week we are going to be talking about the Emerald Tablets and the Tablets of Thoth, which are really kind of the same thing. There is, the scientific version versus mythology and so forth, but we're going to get into more of that as we get going. This is a do-over of a show that had been lost of the original archives, and I promised a member and a dear sister of mine that I would save it for when she could be here, which is going to be tonight. So we're going to do it tonight instead. All the other old shows have been archived that were worthwhile of redoing for the sake of archiving. So we're going to wait for everybody to get on in here. Okay. And for anybody who may be watching on YouTube tonight, I do monitor the chat for my Facebook group, but anything you comment in YouTube will show up there as well. So we've got you covered. La, la, la. Just getting there I am. Okay. Getting it opened up in my group. Hi, guys. So we're going to give it a few minutes for everyone to file in as usual. There we go. Hello, lovelies. Will you stop and go away? I'm not listening to this all night during the show. It's not even feeding time. Good grief. You see this? I am armed. Squirt bottle. She has learned it well and won't mess with it. Hi, Karen, Marianne, Mary, Tanya, Sandy, my lovely admin. Hello, my lovelies. Gonna wait for Chris to get in here too, because I've held this show back for her for when she got her phone situation fixed and could make it back in. I am, oh, you don't even know, Mary. I've drowned. It works for the kittens too. They're well aware of it as well. Nobody plays with that. I have jokingly said that before, Karen, about the romper room mirror. Romper, stomper, dumper, do. Tell me, do I see you? And they never said my name. I was scarred. So as usual, guys, in chat, let me know should my volume go wonky and you can't hear me. And I will periodically check it myself as well to make sure you all can hear me okay. If just one person can't, it's probably on your end. Sorry, but yeah. Tonka. That's now officially your nickname, Tanya. Just saying. So, little announcement. After tonight, for the month of May, we're only going to be going live in here as well, and not Soma Fusion broadcast. There's Chris. Personal reasons for Katie, but suffice to say, we're going to be live in here only, so you won't be able to jump to. I mean, you can watch the replay, when she gets a chance, she will post it up on YouTube and stuff per usual, but it'll be just here during the live, just as an FYI. So the last time I watched Romper Room, she said my name. Well, you're the lucky one then, Karen, because she never said Donna, ever. I always waited, and I was so disappointed. So we're going to get this sage blessing out of the way first before we get this party fully started here. I did actually remember my sage dish this time. Hey, Sandy, how are you? I'm in a basement room with my cat. Some mice, or some nights and dog upstairs. The enemy's dog panics, so I'm gone. Yeah. No, like I said, the squirt bottle is my friend, especially when the minions get racing around in here like little terrorists and into everything they shouldn't be and climbing all over where I keep my stones and things beside over there. Goddess help them if they should break one. That's all I can say. Will not end well. They've been warned. You didn't, I figured she's the one kid who didn't want to get seen, Karen. Do I need a second light here? I think it's going enough. All right, so at this stage, I cleanse and send out positive energy protection against any ill will, negativity, and harm of any kind that to protect. Try that again, Donna. Oh my goodness. With this sage, I cast a circle of protection around everyone watching the show and in the replay as well, and may that protection carry them into their personal and private lives as well to keep them safe from any ill will, harm, or otherwise. So I will it, so mote it be. And definitely blow some that needs a quick relight for this part. Miss Aggressive there. Fight picker. And little girl could use it too, because she's just been, all right, so we're just gonna blow it towards that side of the room, and hopefully it'll reach her. She'll be back around. You are most welcome. And little girl, take that. Come back in here. Let me show you Sage, little Leela. And that should stop your mouth for a little while. I'm mean, aren't I? Hey, Miss Nancy. So, for those who came in after I said it, I will repeat that for the month of May, for personal reasons, Katie won't be broadcasting me through Soma Fusion. She will upload it and put it on YouTube and spread the wealth everywhere, as usual. Amazing job that she does. And here she is typing it in chat as I'm speaking it. So there we go. So it'll be going live strictly from the group for the month of May, and which you all come to the group anyway to watch it, 99% of you, which it should be fine. So just want to let you know, if you should go to YouTube to see it during the 8 o'clock hour, well, my 8 o'clock hour, you won't be able to see live because I won't be there yet. So there you go, guys. So tonight we are going to be talking about the Emerald Tablets and the Tablets of Thoth, which are kind of sort of one and the same, subtle differences, which we're going to get into. Hi, Miss Renee. It was one of the last topics that needed recovering that I held back from my dear Chris. In honor of her return, I said I would hold it until she came back in with a new phone and things worked out for her internet. Here she is. Yay. So it's one of the last ones that was worth recovering anyway. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I didn't do every single old show. Some of them did turn into a whole lot of a big show anyway, and or a huge topic of interest. So those I kind of skipped over. But the majority did. And are now in the group's archives again, as well as Soma Fusion YouTube can be found on my YouTube channel as well, because I always save them in there under the Willows Ben folder too. We're everywhere you want to be. All right. So we ready to get the party started, ladies? And remember, let me know if my volume goes wonky so I can check it, and I will try to remember to do it myself. Thoth, not thought. Thought is a completely different word. Thoth, like Thoth. Sorry, probably didn't enunciate that clearly enough for chat. But good to know. I should probably work on that, because the Emeralds of a Thought is going to be different than the Emerald or the Tablets of Thoth. For those who do know, the meaning of thought, or what a thought is. Give me laughing about that for a little bit. Okay, on that note, we're already heading into Willows Bend after dark, a little early. All right. So, as always, we always start the foundation first, just so you guys are all on the same page with me. Um, what are these things? Now, the actual tablets that are alleged to be made out of emerald and engraved have not been located yet, but there is plenty of rumor abounding that there could be hidden between walls in the one of two of the pyramids in Egypt, and the Egyptian government will not allow any further access to those places to discover if that is where they're hidden. So we may never find them until the world greatly changes. But that's where thought that they might have been stashed for safekeeping. Um, yeah. Well, that's why I said for those who do know that meaning of the word, what a thought is, yeah. So a single emerald tablet that's been the emerald tablets are in a single emerald tablet made out of the gemstone emeralds, has been engraved with alchemic instructions for making the masterwork of all alchemy, which is the elixir of life. For any Harry Potter fan, it could be equated into being like the Philosopher's Stone, kind of the same idea, and to turn, everyday items into essentially gold, because that was the most coveted thing back in the day. You want a Philosopher's Stone or an emerald tablet? I don't know that I'd, want. Well, I know I wouldn't want to live forever, but not at least give me an upgraded body for it if I had to. Put my brain in somewhere, another form, and I'm good. All right. So the emerald tablet is also known as the Smaragdine tablet, or in Latin, the Tabular Smaragdina, is a cryptic and compact hermetic text. Oh, you want an emerald tablet. Gotcha. I thought you meant to live forever type of thing. So it was thought by Europeans and Islamic alchemists as the formation, basically, of their art form. And its texts first appeared because alchemy was very widely practiced back in the day, before Christianity kind of spread and made it highly illegal by the church and punishable, and worse, by death. Hi, Doreen. Then they had to kind of rein it all in, but many still practiced privately and, just hush hush, or even encoded their work into ways that the church couldn't decode it should they discover what they were doing. So it first kind of turned up in a number of early medieval Arabic sources dating to the late 8th or early 9th century. And it was first translated into Latin in the 12th century and the early 13th century. Both medieval and early modern alchemists associate the emerald tablet with the creation of the Philosopher's Stone. And I just got booted out of the group. Oh, that started out early, didn't it? And I will, at some point during the show, be leaving the group chat in order to present. So there was a person, which we'll get into a little bit here, who translated the Latin, translated the Latin texts into English, which must have been a very painstaking process. But I mean, and some might have been lost, of course, throughout translation, as those things always are. However, I do have the PDF of that. Wily me. And your internet is sadly always wonky, Sandy, and I'm sorry that you got to deal with that. So after we get done, I will post it to save it in the files section, files tab under the group photo. In that big long row of tabs towards the far right side is one labeled files, and I'll stick it in there when we're done. But I'm gonna jump out of chat to at some point to access the PDF to reference some of it on air for you guys. Okay, just checking my volume. Yeah, it is you, Nancy. Don't worry, I'm moderately deaf myself, so. All right, so both medieval and early modern alchemists associate the emerald tablet with the creation of the philosopher's stone and the artificial production of gold. So it was thought that in this tablet, it told how to take, I don't know, pick up anything. Okay, the stone is indigo gabbro. So it was said that they could take this and turn it into a big hunk of gold rather than as, individual properties of it being indigo gabbro. Sorry, Timote. So, the use of the term as above, so below is a modern paraphrase of the second verse of the tablet, and it became is of course widely cited now. Everybody has heard that term. Even if they don't know the full text, everybody at least knows as above, so below. Now, Hermes the Thrice Great. There's a title and a name, right? So Hermes the Thrice Great, his last name is Trismegistus, I think it's pronounced. I did it phonetically, but it doesn't look right. So he was a legendary combination of both the Greek god Hermes and the ancient Egyptian god Thoth, with the TH at the end. So he basically was the Emerald Tablet, by most of the world who believe that it does exist somewhere, believes that Hermes is the originator of it, not Thoth. But he really is like the Greek version of Thoth that the Egyptians had. So comparable people, it's just in different cultures, really, and each culture's interpretations of them. Add the TH, correct. So the tablets thought to date to the late antique period between 200 and 800 BCE, before current era. And Sir Isaac Newton also was a known alchemist back in his day, and he was said to have a translated version of it in Latin of the tablet that was found in his notes and his alchemical papers as well. It's now kept in the King's College Library in Cambridge University. Yes, members are going to die. We can't have that. So it is housed there. Should anybody ever get the chance to travel there to Cambridge, you can view what Sir Isaac Newton had translated of it. And then again, there is a more modern day author who took the time to translate it verbatim as much as possible from Latin into English, which many English words do have a Latin root origin to them. So not as much loss as potentially lost with other language translations. So here is what I originally presented in the original show, and then as needed, I will leave chat and jump into the PDF, and then I guess maybe Katie can flag me should volume get wonky or something, because I can't see chat and get the PDF as well, because it's in my downloaded files section of my phone. I am immortal. I'm immortal. All right, so the Latin to English translation follows as: "'Tis true without lying, certain and most true, that which is below is like that which is above, is like that which is below. To do the miracle of one only thing, and as all things have been and arose from one by the mediation of one, so all things have their birth from this one thing by adaptation. The sun is its father, the moon its mother. The wind hath carried it in its belly, the earth is its nurse. The father of all perfection, the whole world is here. Its force or power, if it can be converted into earth, separate thou the earth from fire, the subtle from the gross. Sweetly, with great industry, it ascended from the earth to the heaven, and again it descended to the earth, and receives the force of things superior and inferior. By this means, we shall have the glory of the whole world, and thereby all obscurity shall fly from you. Its force is above all force, for it vanquishes every subtle thing and penetrates every solid thing. So the world was created from this are and do admirable adaptations, where of the means is here in this. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. A friend texted me a question, which I told her the answer for the third time. That's all right. If you're interested, you can always rewatch the first few minutes. Hence, I am called Hermes Trismegistus, have the three parts of the philosophy of the whole world. That which I have said of the operation of the sun is accomplished and ended. Now, Thoth, the Egyptian god, all of you have seen him before. He is shown in all the hieroglyphs with the head of an ibis. Sometimes they say pelican, but I've never seen it shown with a pelican. But it's said that he originated from Atlantis, and it kind of talked about in the original tablets his life there in Atlantis, what how he gained his knowledge and his path to go on to end up in Egypt, and hence being kind of elevated into God status. I'm wondering if the wheel in her head is spinning wheel with a dead hipster. Well, I guess it wouldn't be spinning much then, huh? And so he's thought to be the very originator. And then again, the Greeks kind of took it and ran with it themselves under Hermes the thrice great. Thoth, these tablets haven't been found. However, Hermes did write his own text version of it, and that is what got translated. And I'm guessing it's not supposed to differ much from the one that's actually, inscribed into actual emerald tablet, but the actual tablet's not been found. But what he wrote was. So does that make sense, guys? I remember seeing the hieroglyph of him. Yes. And he was also thought to be like the god of knowledge and information and so forth. And at one point, as a judge, as an Egyptian died and was making their journey and crossing over down like through all the levels, he was said to be one of the judges along the way as well at one point. So pretty high-ranking guy. And it also kind of coincides, if you remember in the show on Atlantis that we covered, in the areas covered by Atlantis, and once things separated into Lemuria, that did end up going into Egypt. So it seems like that would have just been kind of where he landed and kind of said, hello, I'm here. So the tablet became a mainstay of medieval and Renaissance alchemy, which it was allowed back then because, again, Christianity hadn't fully taken hold back then, making it illegal to be practicing and be seen as being a heretic if you were. The concise text was a popular basically summary of alchemy principles, where it's thought that the secret of the philosopher's stone were thought to have been described. Now, to anyone's knowledge, an actual philosopher's stone has not been created by anyone. Many have tried, and no one has seemed to have mastered it yet or gotten it quite right. So I'm guessing there's some big ingredient or something, some part of the process that has been missed, maybe, and even in just translation of it from its original form into Latin and then into English, that something got lost in a translation that disallowed them to create one, because no one's gotten that right yet. By the 14th century, alchemist Ortolanus, wrote a substantial exegesis of critical explanation of a text, especially scripture. So he kind of went into it and gave his own thoughts about it and so forth. And he thought the tablet was a cryptic recipe that described using code words for the lab processes involved in it. And, when you heard when I just read that passage to you, it does sound very much like a riddle. So kind of a foregone conclusion with that, I think. Whether it was or just a language barrier, perhaps, no one knows. But Regardless, it's thought of to be one of those things. So this view was actually held for 2 centuries till the 16th century, where writings of Johann Trithemius, who lived from 1462 to 1516, moved away from the lab view of the tablet into a more literal approach to it. So, back then science was just growing in the Renaissance area and era and becoming like the newest thing, and proving the scientific method of things and the beginnings of modern medicine, etc. So this stuff really, he's taking it to, hey, let's take this literally rather than trying to transcribe it and figure out what these code words mean. Maybe it's not in code after all. Maybe it's supposed to be taken literally. Other origins of the tablet say that Seth, who was the 3rd son of Adam and Eve, actually is the originator who wrote it. Others once believed that it is held within the Ark of the Covenant mentioned in the biblical book of Exodus, which again even the Ark hasn't been found to this day. So it could be in there. We don't know that. Origin legends also include that it comes from Atlantis, which we talked about. Some believe the original text was in Greek, but it was burned in the fires of the Library of Alexandria when it got sacked, and they just, so much early knowledge of humanity was lost in that fire. Some stuff was saved, but that didn't include a whole lot of it, unfortunately. Deb can't come in tonight. Okay, got it. So it's unknown of the exact origins of the tablet due to the original not even possibly having survived over time. We don't know. There's rumors, really, that is what exists of where it could possibly be located if it did survive, which only leaves the earliest known translations to go on for it for now. Now, one interpretation suggests hidden in the text is a description of the 7 stages of alchemical transformation. The first being calcination, which is heating a solid to high temperatures to remove any impurities. 2 being dissolution. 3, separation of whatever you're using for ingredients. Conjunction, kind of remixing them back together, letting it sit through fermentation. Then distillation of it, purifying it even further, and then coagulation of letting it kind of reform into its new form. Now, no author or interpreter can claim to possess the knowledge of the whole entire truth of all of this. Some even claim that the original tablet is buried down on the plateau of Giza to prevent it from falling into the religious zealous hands back in the day, that it was protected that way. Now, there was kind of like an earlier pyramid in that area that was discovered, and through ground penetrating radar, if I'm remembering correctly, they did discern several layers and columns in there that were kind of akin to the way that they built the existing known libraries in Egypt in ancient days. And then suddenly the government interceded and said, yeah, no more ground penetrating radar, forget it. You guys are done, go away, and stopped allowing any further exploration of that area. But what they did get in information does kind of imply that, there's many layers below this place, and that could perhaps be some sacred hidden library of sorts for the ancient Egyptians, just kind of separate from, we all know, like, they didn't live within the pyramids. They, had an entire city surrounding everything. So that could have been the library back in the day. We don't know, but they're not allowing any further exploration of that stuff. The Egyptian government has gotten really picky on that stuff. I think they're hiding something myself. So with the pyramid connection to this, there is again another legend stating that the Emerald Tablet of Thoth, who is the god of wisdom, is thought to have been found inside the Great Pyramid and then just kind of hidden by the government and not disclosed. It's also thought that it again was hidden behind or between two walls. And again, they're not making it public, or they haven't found it yet. They have discovered, and within the pyramids, a number of what are perceived to be doorways or thought to be doors, and they won't even let like the smallest hole be drilled into them to allow like an exploratory, itsy bitsy camera to be fed in through to get a view of what's inside. So, they're hiding their secrets. Isn't there supposed to be something in the feet of the Sphinx? It's been said that there is, that there is there is a door. So you have the head of the Sphinx with his feet there, and there is a door kind of like at the base of his chest. It's never been fully dug out, so we don't really know what's in there because, some people will say, oh no, that's been explored. I personally have never come across anything that demonstrates that. So, hey, Miss Stacy. So a lot, I think, kept hidden. The why behind it, well, who knows? Maybe they think the world's not ready for it yet. Maybe they want to keep it for themselves. We don't know, but hasn't been found. So it's really a lot of lore and speculation. So let's keep going into this direction. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Now, in this legend, the Egyptian god Thoth, with a TH, was thought to have written them, and he was, again, from Atlantis and was an Atlantean. So now in this legend of the tablet, we go down a rabbit hole to the Egyptian god Thoth, who has the head of a falcon, sometimes the ibis, either way works, body of a human. And he's originally from Atlantis, the fabled lost city. And the tablets were said to be that the first tablet was the history of Thoth, who, and from the Atlantean standpoint of his lifetime before leaving Atlantis and going over to be a god in Egypt. Edgar Casey said there was a room hidden in the Sphinx that hasn't been found. And I believe that. And that's what I was saying, is that I've heard some people tout that the door that's at the base of the Sphinx's chest between his paws has been explored, and I've never ever seen anything about it. Now, I'm not saying that I'm some big archaeological expert here on everything, but I've never come across anything that talks about it myself, and maybe I could go exploring that, I guess, but I've not seen anything across my path regarding them having opened that door or what's behind it. I don't think they allowed it to be open personally. That's my thought. Excuse me. So tablet 1, salt lamp time. Allergies are kicking up. It's been found, they won't tell us. Yeah, I do speculate that, Marianne. And again, I think if it hasn't been directly located of like, okay, well, we know it's hidden here, but we're not going to destroy the building to get to it. I think is at least they have their distinctive thoughts that they won't allow further exploration of certain ruins there. So the first tablet was the history of Thoth when he was an Atlantean, and the tablet 2 is the halls of Amenti, which are said to be between the lowest and highest dimensions, distorting the only truth of the universe, and are ruled by higher beings, where reincarnation happens till we get it, quote unquote, the 6th and 7th dimensions. Quote, he who by progress has grown from the darkness, lifted himself from the night into the light, free is he made of the halls of Amenti, free of the, can't read my own writing here, sorry, the free of the flower of light and of life, and end quote. And that was supposed to be said by Thoth. Tablet 3 has the key to wisdom. Like, this is like, I don't even know if it's possible to contain all the knowledge that's said to be contained into one tablet. It's got to be, pretty damn big size. So tablet 4 was said to be the Spaceborn, which chronicles his journey from Atlantis to Egypt. Tablet 5 is the Dweller of Unal, about a higher dimensional temple. Tablet 6 is supposed to talk about the key of magic conquers all fear of darkness. Tablet 7 is the 7 lords, aka doorways into our bodies, aka chakras. Tablet 8 is the key of mystery, the life to life after death. Tablet 9, the key to freedom of space, the soul is all. Tablet 10, key of time, referencing the law of man. Tablet 11, so I mean, according to this, there's how many tablets, not just one. Tablet 11, the key to above and below. Tablet 12, the key of prophecy, the law of cause and effect. Tablet 3 was a supplementary, 13. And now it said that these emerald tablets were translated by a Dr. Dorial, which is what the who wrote the PDF that I'm going to be accessing in a few minutes. He translated it from Latin into English. So that's what that is meant to be or supposed to be about. So I'm going to kind of scroll through some of the tablet translations in a book he wrote. It is an actual book you can buy that he wrote back, I want to say in the 60s was when he was alive, but he was pretty advanced and revolutionary for his time. So he claimed that there was a connection past life with the pyramid priesthood, and that he was instructed to recover and return them, the tablets, to the pyramid. And before this, though, that he'd be allowed to translate them and keep a copy. And so way earlier than that, translation was done in 1925. Now, sorry, my memory of that is from when we first did this show. When did we first cover it? Look, out of curiosity. Okay, so February 2nd of 2021 was when we did this show the first time. So it's been a while. And you know me in timelines and dates. It's gone. So he did his translation in 1925. And the further history of Thoth said that he is an Atlantean priest king who ruled ancient Egypt for 16,000 years. And with the sinking of Atlantis, he went to nearby Egypt and established his own colony. He supposedly built the Great Pyramid of Giza, which was supposed to be a repository for Atlantean knowledge. Thoth speaks of the degeneration of the hearts of the Atlanteans that led to their downfall, which we talked about in the show on Atlantis, that they got greedy. They became more like, we are above everyone and we should be in charge because we say so and we're great. Whereas the Lemurians were much more like, hey, let those people develop at their own pace. We're not the gods here. We're not the ones in charge. We'll leave them alone. And Atlantis was said to say, yeah, no, we want it all and keep expanding and run things. And that's what led to the destruction of Atlantis. And there was a lot of alleged thermonuclear wars that took place between the two as well, which is said to account for the massive areas of desert we have on the planet today, that was their origins, which maybe. So this is from Dr. Dorial's book titled The Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean. Like rich people, they were using power for war, yes. So who is Dr. Dorial? So I have a little bio, so you guys know about him. This was from the website Brotherhood of the White Temple that he, I believe, started and ran up until his death. So Dr. Dorial is a spiritual teacher, a multitude of seekers of the light, and founded the metaphysical church, the Brotherhood of the White Temple. Dorial studied the ancient teachings and translated many of the texts into English and other languages for the masses to read in order to reach, quote, atonement within ourselves and the cosmic universe. Dr. Maurice Dorial died in 1963, so that's probably where I got the 60s from, although the Brotherhood does not acknowledge his death on their website at all. So why they don't, we don't know. Unless they want to promote him being an eternal being, I don't know. So where do things stand as of right now? over the centuries. They have been translated and retranslated, and I'm sure even embellished by some for profit. But there are still, even today, many who study them, especially the tablets of Thoth, with their guidance to attempt to understand the meaning and perhaps purpose for one's life for those who still seek understanding of those things. And alchemy has become more of a lost art, that there are still some out there who are still said to be trying to achieve the philosopher's stone and immortality, but much has been replaced from ancient alchemy with modern science. But there are those that do still practice it and are not persecuted for it nowadays. So it is much more accepted, I guess, than it once was. Once Christianity kind of hit things over in the old world, and kind of started pushing its illegality to it and the offensiveness to the church. And it was banned. And even today, it's thought that people like the great Renaissance painters and things like that were secretly alchemists and would encode their texts or their thoughts on things in reverse writing, and they'd find other ways to kind of keep it from, in case they got caught by the church. We are told so much, we believe this as true. Who really knows the truth? Well, that's just it. It's up to the individual to decide what resonates with you as truth, I guess. So that was pretty much all I had from the original show. But again, I didn't find the PDF back then. So I just found that last night and nabbed it. So I'm going to jump out of chat and over into the PDF so I can kind of go through and talk about it. And then I'll come back in and kind of catch up on chat if that works for you guys. Yeah. So I'm going to pop out and go pull that up. Let's see here. File manager. And please be patient because it's on my phone. The text is really small and I have to blow it up and then move it around so I can get through each page of it. But I don't want to risk, I go live on my tablet too, so that wouldn't be used to be able to find that. But there are, I believe, 108 pages to Dorial's book. And I can show you kind of the accepted universal figure of the Egyptian god Thoth and how he was shown. It's kind of superimposed over the table of contents, but for anybody who, you'll know once you see him. And then below it has the eye of Horus that he's kind of kneeling on. So that's how Thoth was portrayed in Egyptian hieroglyphs. And an ibis was supposed to be like an all-knowledgeable type of bird. So let's see. All right, stop flipping around. Let's get back to the beginning. So section 1 is the secrets of life revealed. And let me check my volume. There we go, since I can't see chat. Now, it does say that it's meant for educational purposes, and I can share it, so we're covered with any copywriting stuff. There is a preface and an introduction to the original book and an interpretation of the Emerald Tablet. There is the Emerald Tablet of Thoth. So it kind of runs through what I already did in the notes, listing like what the different tablets were supposed to be about. So I'm going to just kind of randomly scroll around and give you guys bits and pieces of information from the PDF. And then again, once the show is over, I will post it into the group. So anybody interested can check it out at your own speed and read through it. Because again, it's not super big, but but like 108 pages. So not monstrous. Okay. So this is part of the preface to the original. The history of the tablets translated in the following pages is strange and beyond the belief of modern scientists. Their antiquity is stupendous, dating back some 36,000 years BCE. The writer is Thoth, an Atlantean priest king who founded a colony in ancient Egypt after the sinking of the mother country. He was the builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza, erroneously attributed to Cheops. In it, he incorporated his knowledge of the ancient wisdom and also securely secreted records and instruments of the ancient Atlantis. For some 16,000 years, he ruled the ancient race of Egypt from approximately 50,000 BCE to 36,000 BCE. At that time, the ancient barbarous race among which he and his followers had settled and been raised to a high degree of civilization. Thoth was an immortal, that is, that he conquered death, passing only when he willed, and even though then not through death. His vast wisdom made him ruler over the various Atlantean colonies, including the ones in South and Central America. When the time came for him to leave Egypt, he erected the Great Pyramid over the entrance to the great halls of Amenti, placed in it his records, and appointed guards for his secrets from among the highest of his people. In later times, the descendants of these guards became the pyramid priests, by which Thoth was deified, made into a deity, as the god of wisdom, the recorder, by those in the age of darkness which followed his passing. In legend, the halls of Amenti became the underworld. The halls of the gods where the soul passed after death for judgment. During later ages, the ego of Thoth passed into the bodies of men in the manner described in the tablets. As such, he incarnated 3 times, and his last being known as Hermes the thrice born, which is the Greek counterpart. So in here, it's saying that he came back as Hermes rather than the Greeks just kind of randomly plucking him out of thin air and saying, there you go, you write this book. He was said to be the reincarnation of Thoth. In this incarnation, he left the writings known to modern occultists as the Emerald Tablets, a later and far lesser exposition of the ancient mysteries. The tablets translated in this work are 10 which were left in the Great Pyramid in the custody of pyramid priests. The 10 are divided into 13 parts for the sake of convenience, and the last 2 are so great and far-reaching in their import that at present it is forbidden to release them to the world at large. However, in those contained herein are the secrets which will prove inestimable value to the serious student. They should be read not once, but 100 times, for only thus can the true meaning be revealed. A casual reading will give glimpses of beauty, but more intensive study will, says oven, but I'm sure it's supposed to mean offer, avenues of wisdom to the seeker. But now a word as to how these mighty secrets came to be revealed to modern man after being hidden for so long. And again, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but give you a little bit of history from the book. Some 1,300 years BCE, Egypt, the ancient Chem, was in turmoil, and many delegations of priests were sent to other parts of the world. Among these were some of the pyramid priests who carried with them the emerald tablets as a talisman by which they could exercise authority over the less advanced craft of races from other Atlantean colonies. The tablets were understood from legend to give the bearer authority from Thoth. And then it talks about them going to a group of priests emigrated with the tablets to South America, and they found the Mayans, who remembered much of the ancient wisdom. Among these, the priests settled and remained. And that the priests, or in the 10th century, the Mayans had thoroughly settled the Yucatan, and the tablets were placed beneath the altar of one of the great temples of the sun god. After the conquest of the Mayans by the Spaniards, the cities were abandoned and the treasures of the temples forgotten. Oh, hit scroll there. So it goes on to say, the wisdom contained therein is the foundation of ancient mysteries. And for the one who reads with open eyes and mind, his wisdom shall be increased 100-fold. Read, believe or not, but read, and the vibration found therein will awaken a response in your soul. In cosmic harmony, Dorial, supreme voice of the brotherhood. So the rest from there, it goes into an introduction to the original, which is an interpretation of the Emerald Tablets. So it does have certain keywords, at least in here, highlighted and stuff. So let me see here. So just take that, if you happen to go through this yourself, that whomever posted this, that's what they found important in it, but it doesn't mean that that is the only thing you need to take from it. Use your discretion in that. Let's see. And I don't know if you guys want me to read any of excerpts from the Thoth history before, from when he was with Atlantis, which I'm guessing, knowing my tribe, you probably would. And so then this could even be something we read in book group too, if that's of interest to anybody, throwing that out there. So I'm just going to skim through parts of like what is the first thing and then kind of jump back into chat from there. So I don't want to, like I said, do the whole thing. Obviously, it's 108 pages. So I'm not going to do that. So let's see. I, Thoth, the Atlantean master of mysteries, keeper of records, mighty king, magician, living from generation to generation, being about to pass into the halls of Amenti, set down for the guidance of those who are to come after, these records of the mighty wisdom of the great Atlantis. So then he kind of gives some of the back history of Atlantis, and 100 times 10 I have descended the dark way that led into the light, and as many times as I have ascended from the darkness into the light, my strength and power renewed. Now for a time I descend, and the men of Chem shall know me no more, but in a time yet unborn I will rise again. Mighty and can't read at that angle, and potent, requiring an accounting of those left behind me. Then beware, O men of Chem, if ye have falsely betrayed my teaching, for I shall cast ye down from your high estate into the darkness of the caves from whence ye came. Betray not my secrets to the men of the north or the men of the south, lest my curse fall upon ye. So it goes on from there, but like I said, I'm not going to sit and read the whole thing to you guys because that would be dumb. So let me jump back out of there and get back over into chat. For now, we can close them. See if it takes me back in. Let me see here. Trying to search it for bringing up the live because it did take me right back. Do I have it? Yes. Okay. So let me scroll. No, it's not going to give me the chat I missed, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, it's not going to let me see the chat I missed while I was gone. Sorry about that, guys. Just for when I rejoin, but at any rate, that gives you an idea of, how it kind of proceeds from there and what it's about as well. I plan on reading it. And like I said, if you guys, hi, Jojo, welcome. if that's something you guys are interested in for book group, we can cover it in there. You know me, I roll with whatever you guys want. Yeah, I'm thinking it could be interesting as well, Chris. So I don't know what you guys are wanting so bad from Karen. A drink, maybe? Missed that part. But like I said, it kind of cuts off the chat that was there before, from when I left and was talking out of the group. So I'll have to wait till the show's done to go back to it, unfortunately. But that kind of is the topic as a whole. So again, they've not been found yet, the actual tablets, and it is thought that they were kind of scattered, and either some think that they were still in some of the Mayan ruins and taken by the priests who were basically in touch with, in being instructed and directed by Thoth, and left there to go to South America from Egypt. And that, again, I mean, the Spaniards did burn all the Mayan text. So the idea that they might leave something like that behind, I mean, it would have had to have been damn well hidden to not get found back then. Oh, mimosa. See, I was right. I knew it'd be a drink. I know. Well, not a book. I just read basically part of the preface and like the first couple of paragraphs of the first tablet, just to kind of give an idea of it. So didn't read the whole thing. And I haven't yet, because I just found this PDF last night. So again, it's 108 pages. But like I said, if you guys are interested in that in-book group, we certainly can go there next. And I've never actually had a mimosa, so I can't say what they taste like or even what's in them, but enjoy them if you have them. So again, I know that save the rest for book club. Okay. So for anybody and anyone who's watching who's not familiar, I also run a book group for the group Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time, in the video chat room. You don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. Many choose not to and just make their comments and talk within the chat itself instead of talking on camera. Even you don't even have to be heard if you don't want to. Just how it works. We do it in a room. It's not recorded, so it's all just us, and that's it. Facebook doesn't get to access it after the fact or anything that we know of. Busy OJ. I don't know what else is in them though, but so they could be stored in Egypt. Again, it's just unknown, but Dr. Dorial said that, he was a reincarnation and was granted permission to translate them. So even with the PDF, which is like from his book that he wrote, do we know with 100% certainty that that's from the actual text? No, of course we don't have proof, but he does. Okay. That was weird. I'm thinking my overhead light just blew, which is fantastic. Sorry, guys. Half champagne and half OJ. Yep, never had one. So yeah, my light just blew out apparently. So sorry for the semi-darkness. According to Mayan history, once the Spaniards took over and invaded, they burnt all of the texts and had a massive book burning. And what exists today is kind of a rewriting of those texts by the surviving priests who survived the ransacking and weren't put to death or whatever. They secretly rewrote what they remembered from the original texts of it, and then went on to, save that for history's sake. So some was lost. Now, the book is saying that they are hidden under an altar, but it doesn't specify which altar, a sun god, which, again, it's pretty vague. It could be in a number of different places that has yet to be discovered. But I'm guessing, like most things, when it's the right time, they will be rediscovered. And with his curse in place, there are those that would take that very seriously and uphold those values. And still protect it and keep its knowledge and whereabouts, safe until the time is right. And he does say that the last tablet's information, or part of it, I guess it would be the last tablet, was withheld from humanity until the right time, because it's not the right time. We can't handle that information yet, apparently. So it's all kind of speculation. Those of the scientific community say, yeah, no, this obviously was a bunch of, hokiness and nonsense, that there isn't actual emerald tablets that in existence anywhere because they've not been found. Well, hell, how many things have not been found yet, or that we are still discovering in modern day, as in, like, this decade, every single year, new stuff gets found. So you can't say it doesn't exist just because it hasn't been located yet, I think. And I'm guessing, as far as proof, Marianne, you're asking about the champagne instead? Focus, guys, focus. So that's pretty much it for the topic. We can read I'll still post the PDF within the file section tab of the group, which is on the far right side. And that way it's there saved for anybody who doesn't attend book group, interested and sees the replay, whatever, that they can go back and peruse it at their own time frame. Oh, yes, we were talking, I had stepped out, Sandy, to read excerpts from the preface, but I couldn't monitor chat during that time. But everybody was saying they would want to go through and read the PDF in book group. So that's, I guess, the next plan after we finish the current book of The Children of the Fifth World. Yeah, no, I completely agree, Chris, and that even within the ocean, they've openly admit, hey, we've only explored 10% of it. Well, that's a whole lot of mighty lot that has left unexplored yet and unknown. And every year they're discovering both species they thought were long ago extinct, that they still exist, and new species as well. So what's to say that at some point these tablets won't surface and be found? Again, I kind of think that because of the original setup of Thoth within the Egyptian culture from back then, if he was indeed responsible for building the Pyramid of Giza, and creating a priesthood, basically based off of his own teachings, then they would have upheld that knowledge and it would have been passed down and had an influence even today on the Egyptian government, perhaps, to not expose those things. And again, they have found, like, the halls of Amenti, that has been speculated in that pyramid form that is not in the typical triangular shaped pyramid. It is more like a step pyramid. It kind of looks like the remains of a Mayan pyramid, to be honest. But ground penetrating radar, what they were allowed to do before the Egyptian government pulled the plug, because I did read up on this, did show several floor layers beneath it, and that there were columns, like, upholding in key locations to support the weight, and that, yes, it is feasible that could have been a library of sorts under there, and perhaps the halls of Amenti. We are still on Children of the Fifth World. Bookmark is at the back of my nightstand, so I can't easily access it. Over the halfway mark, so it's a pretty quick read. We got pretty goofy in the last book group, so kind of turned into book group after dark towards the end. I will say that that happens sometimes, but anyone's welcome who happens to see the replay or isn't in the group tonight to watch the show live. That at 8 o'clock Eastern, you just go into the rooms tab up at top, like underneath the group photo. There's one on the far left of the gray tabs labeled rooms. Click into there, click into up at top, it says join in a green button. Click on that, and that should take you into the room to open it into the video chat for book group. Chapter 16, yeah. Well, where did you go, Tanya? Like I said, I missed out because when I came back in, I lost all the previous chat from when I left to read the excerpts to you. So we will save the rest of the PDF for that then, and also to kind of read it from the beginning. And I still am hoping to be able to get with my dad this week. I know he hasn't been feeling well, so lots of love out to my dad, and healing energy and light. as well, so that you know, it was his idea to do the Ghost of Decatur, and he said, "Oh, well, you never asked about that." Well, he said, "But you used to see him all the time," which I did live in Decatur, Nebraska as a child. When I first moved to Nebraska, that was the town we lived in, and he threw out a couple little tidbits that are bigger historical notations, which never heard of being there before part of things. But he's like, "You never asked." Well, who would have thought as a child to ask those questions? But yes, I saw a lot of things there, and in Lyons, Nebraska as well. So, yeah, Natalie, just kidding. Yeah, you can watch the replay. It's fine. So I'm still awaiting the recent fire, Sandy, or in a former time frame. I did hear that there are fires that joined with other existing fires to make like one massive thing. Recent. I'm wondering if it isn't part. I mean, this is a big memory from my scroll through in the news of the headlines and stuff, but I did read where there was like a joining of two massive wildfires into one horrendously massive wildfire. So I didn't know it included Nebraska though, and he hasn't said anything about it. So I'm guessing at least it's not his part, but not good either way, obviously. So we send our healing energy and hope that everyone who is affected by those get out to safety, of course, and for all of the animals and so forth impacted by the fires. Anybody who's losing their homes, I can't imagine a bigger tragedy in one's personal life than that. So at any rate, no, I guess I need to watch the news, northern or southern of me. All I remember from the news headline, because I don't go into many of the actual stories from the news because I just don't. I skim the headlines, and I just read that there are two massive wildfires that joined into one, but I didn't realize Nebraska was impacted though. So, at any rate, I have messaged Dad saying, let me know when you're feeling better so I can pepper you with questions and stuff. So, kind of waiting on that say so. In the meantime, in case it doesn't happen to meet with him this coming week, I will, of course, create a new selection of topics to vote on and I'll pick one for next week's show and surprise you all. You guys don't really care what I cover anyway, unless you guys have a topic of interest to throw out there, which I'm happy to add to it. But we didn't really have any left that weren't covered yet before we started covering all the old shows. So we kind of killed those off the table. Either like you just, yeah. So if anyone happens to have a topic of interest, not sure we've covered before, whatever, feel free to throw it out there, message me, what have you, and or put it in chat or put it in the group, make a comment in the group. I read those, I really do. And so I will respond if we've done it before. And if I don't remember, I will ask the illustrious Sandy Griffin, who is my long-term memory for the group of things covered and not covered. What the hell, Light? Okay. Maybe it's getting loose in there from Dumbo upstairs pouncing around. Sorry, that wasn't nice to say on air. So, yes, as a reminder, any shows for the month of May will be put directly done in Willows Bend group on Facebook. And then Katie from there, when she feels up to it, will upload them into YouTube, the Soma Fusion YouTube, in which case at that time I save it into my YouTube channel as well. There's a folder on my YouTube channel, which the link to that is pinned to the top of the group. For anybody interested, there is a folder in there labeled Willows Bend. There's also other ones that have like interesting videos and things that I come across that perhaps are different sometimes than what I post in a group. Not all of them make it in. I'm guessing it's a loose light bulb from them, and the dog's always racing and running upstairs. So, and unfortunately, I can't climb up on a chair myself to reach it. I mean, even if I could, it's very high up and I'm not that tall. I learned that the hard way the last time, that even on my toes, stretching as far as I could not adequately reach it safely. So yeah, but at least it's back on for now. I'll take it while we have it, right? So anybody have any ideas for topics or otherwise in the meantime, feel free to let me know. And otherwise, I will pick one for next week. If my dad does not get to me, I'll get back to me to interview him for the Decatur ghost thing. And I will come up with a handful of others, to put on the table to vote on and stuff for next time, like I've done in the past. And I always notify you what I'm going to do anyway, as much as I know. So anyway, there it is for tonight for the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And we will reserve any further reading of the PDF for book group, but I will still save it into the file section of the group for anybody who is interested in reading it on their own. And even if we cover it in book group, you still might want to go back through it again yourself, who knows. And then anybody watching a replay can access it as well. It'll just be forevermore in Willow's Bend. So thank you very much, Sandy. Much love to you too. And we finished a little bit early, so you guys got the rest of the evening to yourselves. So enjoy it. And love to everyone who did come in for the show. Even if you were late, that's okay. The replay will be posted after I'm done. And otherwise, I will see you guys Thursday night for book group, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Same bat time, same bat channel in the rooms. So lots of love and thank you to everybody. I always appreciate you guys. You know that. You guys are my hearts. And I send light and love out to everyone who might need it at this time. So wherever you are very welcome, Chris. You are loved. All right, guys. See you guys in book group then. And have a wonderful rest of the night. Lots of love. Good night, all.